holding, everybody. We'll now start today's teleconference with the Athletic Director of Western Kentucky University, Mr. Todd Stewart. At this time, we'll now turn it over to Todd Stewart, the Athletic Director of WKU. And if you have any questions, please dial *1 on your phone. Todd, would you like to start us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Thank you, Travis, and thanks to everybody who's joined in. And certainly my apologies over the last few days of really not being available. Certainly we try to be transparent and available here, but due to the circumstances and everything that was going on, I just thought it was appropriate to let that play out and not comment. So I apologize if that caused any inconveniences for everybody of not being available. But you know what I'd like to do today is certainly be happy to answer any questions about Bobby Petrino and his tenure as the Western Kentucky head coach, who obviously has now transitioned to Louisville. I do not want to get in today to our vacant head coaching position and where we are with that or where we might go. I think today is Bobby Petrino and Louisville's day, and would appreciate just keeping the questions related to that topic. But with that being said, I'd be happy to take any questions that anybody has.
Again, as a reminder to our members of the media, it is *1 to get in the queue. Again, please push *1 on your phone to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Nashville, Tennessee. Caller, please identify yourself and go ahead.
Hey, Todd, it's Elliot Pratt from the Herald. I just wanted to know yesterday, whenever everything was going on, were there any sort of efforts to sort of retain Petrino whenever you knew that Louisville was calling? Did you kind of give a last-ditch effort to keep him here, or what did that go like?
No, I don't really think. I mean, I certainly would love to have had Coach Petrino here more than a year. And I think if Charlie Strong doesn't take the Texas job, Bobby Petrino is our head coach in 2014. But certainly the Louisville job, with where their program is, what they've achieved in recent years, and with them heading into the ACC, that's a big-time job. And I don't think there's anything that we could have done here that we weren't already doing that would have persuaded him to turn that down and stay here.
Is there any kind of movement to maybe expect some assistance to possibly go up to Louisville with him?
You know, I think that's obviously his call and his decision. You know, a lot of times when coaches move, that they will take some staff members with them that they have previous good working relationships with, and certainly that could happen in this case.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Our next calls come from Louisville, Kentucky. Caller, please identify yourself and go ahead.
It's Michael Grant from the Courier-Journal in Louisville. Todd, when and how did Coach Petrino notify you that he was taking the job?
Well, actually, you know, the first thing I really would like to point out here is really how well the communication was all week long with both Bobby and with Tom Jurich. You know, I really appreciate both of them being very upfront with me, and the lines of communication were really strong. And so they did a very good job of keeping me informed of where everything was. In terms of how it actually went down, Tom Jurich called me yesterday morning and told me that was the direction that they were going to go in. I did not call Bobby initially. I felt that, you know, that call obviously should come from Tom, and that's how that went down. And then as soon as Tom called Bobby, then Bobby called me to let me know.
And also, I know you don't want to get into this too much, but could you say whether or not you guys are going to name a coach today or possibly as soon as tomorrow?
Well, we won't be doing anything today. I can tell you that. I don't really want to get into anything beyond that, but we won't have an announcement today. But certainly we knew that this was a scenario that could unfold, and we were prepared for it, and our process has already begun, and as soon as we have something to announce, we'll let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Our next questions come from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Caller, please identify yourself and go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Hey, Todd. It's Chad.
Hey, Chad.
I want to ask you about recruiting. How do the current coaches handle that, and how do you keep some of the kids committed to WKU?
Well, the good thing is that I think a lot of these kids, you know, they made a commitment to the program, and they like where the program is, and they like our facilities. There has been dialogue with our coaches to the recruits, and certainly, you know, right now they're all kind of in a wait-and-see mode in terms of what direction we do. But I'm confident that because of us being prepared for this scenario should it have unfolded, and I think what will end up being our ability to act in a fairly quick manner, that it will not have any negative effect on recruiting.
How do you think that the current team is going to handle this? This will be their third different coach in 3 years.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that's not something that you strive for. Certainly that's not ideal. I know it's worked for Arkansas State, but that's not a model that you want to have. You want to have a little bit more continuity than that. I still feel that based on where we were a year ago, where our program was, how we finished the season, to have an opportunity to have a head coach who at that time, was 75 and 26, I believe, and had been to 7 bowl games, to have somebody like that we could afford was something we just couldn't turn down. And I feel very good about the season and the way it went and what he and his staff accomplished, and I know our players have a lot to be proud of, and I'm confident that when we announce our head coach and we start moving forward, that we will certainly be able to continue the momentum that we finished last season with.
How about trying to get that home and home done with Louisville?
Yeah, I'm optimistic on that. That when we talked to Bobby a little over a year ago, we tweaked the language on that. It's a little different from some of the earlier contracts we did, but it was also part of getting the buyout number up much higher than what it originally was. So it's a best intentions clause in there right now, but I have a good relationship and obviously have the utmost respect with Tom Jurich, and certainly the same with Bobby. He and I work great together, and we'll talk about that, and I'm certainly hopeful we can get something done there.
All right, last question. What were your thoughts on maybe the team's academic standing with Bobby Petrino?
Well, I mean, I feel very, very good about, not only as an athletic department, but as a football program, about our overall academics. Our APR rate is very, very strong. We had 6 players actually graduate off the current team just this past December. Certainly it's something that we take a lot of pride in, and I'm confident that when the whole year is done, our academic standing for the 2013-14 year in all of our sports will be just as good as it always has been. Coach Petrino emphasized academics. That was important to him, and it's obviously very important to all of us.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Chad, and that was actually our last caller in the queue, so we'll kind of give a last call here for questions. If you'd like to ask questions, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. And with that will conclude today's teleconference. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Please feel free to reach out if we can provide you any other assistance, and thank you very much, Todd, for joining us today as well.
All right, thank you.
Recording has ended. A host has ended this conference.